continue towards the training. If anyone have, like, just write yes or no if anyone have, then yes, and otherwise write no. Yeah, sure, sure, sure. So I think we should start our training session. So welcome to our training session. I'll introduce myself first. So my name is Nishit Singh Bhadoria, and I am a certified AWS Cloud Solution Architect. And I've been working on cloud since past 2 to 3 years, or I can say like more than that. I've worked with various institutes. I've worked with various training institutes as well. So I hope that uh, will we both like you guys and will together will enjoy this training session. So I think we should start the training session. So quickly we'll move on to the first topic, the introduction of cloud computing. So do anyone want you from you guys? Do anyone want to like explain what is cloud computing? Any one of you? Otherwise, I will explain you guys what is cloud computing. Anyone, if anyone wants, then write in the chat box your answers. I'll be also asking you questions in between the training session. So be prepared and be ready to answer the question. Right? Is anyone writing? I'll wait. I think no one is writing, so I think I should continue. So basically, cloud computing is nothing but an alternative of on-premise data center, right? If you have an like company, and you want all your you have a company, like your company creates a website. So for that you will be needing servers, you will be needing storage devices, databases, and each and everything. So for that you guys need data center. So, like if you guys are planning to create an on-premise data center, so that will cost you much more as per the conditions which are going on nowadays. Like every hardware and everything are basically cost highly. So for that, uh, various companies provide the cloud computing, cloud service. So cloud services are nothing but the alternative for an on-demand data center. So all the data centers, all the servers, all the hardware, all the storage devices are kept at their data center. We just need to take services from them, and we just need to use that services as per our requirement. And whenever our requirement are complete, so we can release their services as well. So that is the basic introduction of cloud computing. Now, there are various cloud service providers are there in market, right? So I'll show you the list of some of the top cloud providers which are there, which exist in the market. Uh, Mainly, when it comes to the cloud computing, so the first name comes in everyone's mind is AWS. Then Microsoft also provides us the cloud services, which is named as Azure. Google also provides GCP, Google Cloud Platform. Then Alibaba, IBM, Oracle, Salesforce, SAP, Rackspace, VMware, and many more companies are there. Okay, so these are the companies. These are some of the top companies which are basically trending in the market. In the topic trending in the market for AWS or for cloud computing. Okay, So cloud computing is nothing but an what we can say an alternative of on-premise data centers. Now let's talk about AWS, right? So uh, okay, so cloud computing. So cloud computing provides simple way to access server, storage, database, broad set of applications uh, over internet instead of your computer hard drive, right? Is this the same as I said you? Cloud computing is providing developer or IT department with the ability to focus on what matters most and avoid undifferentiated work like procurement. Basically, this whole definition, I'll be not focusing more on theory, right? Because the training, we have planned the training for practical session, but for the practical, you guys need to understand what are theory. So in our whole training, we can say like 20% we'll be covering theory, because without theory, you guys cannot understand what are going on the practicals. So a basic introduction about each and everything, we'll see a basic introduction about each and everything in theoretical part, and then we'll directly move on to practical part. Right? So as I said you, an alternative to on-demand or on-premises data centers. So is the same written over here. Then uh, if most of the world, like almost everyone in the world, in current world, are using cloud computing, so there must be any benefits of cloud computing. So here are some of the benefits of cloud computing. So trade capital expenses for variable expenses, benefit from massive economic of scale, stop guessing about capacity, right? Because in cloud computing, like I can explain you this. In cloud computing, the amount of basically, if you are launching a server, so the amount of hardware, the amount of CPUs, the amount of RAM which you need, you'll just need to purchase that, or you'll just need to borrow that. You don't need any kind of, like, if you guys need 16 GB RAM, and in market, market does not have 16 GB of RAM, so you guys will purchase 32 GB, so like the remaining 16 GB is for waste, right? So in cloud computing, this is a more advantage. The amount of basically the amount of or the size of any hardware or any RAM that you require, you guys just need to take that part only. Increase speed and agility, stop spending money running and maintaining data centers, right? Because data centers are at the cloud vendor's place. You don't need to maintain, or you don't need to create any data center at your place. Go global in minutes. Definitely, you guys can launch your machine, or you guys can launch your server or any your storage in anywhere in the world. So you can go globally in minutes. Now, there are two types of model which cloud computing provides, right? We can say deployment model and service model. So, what is deployment model? In deployment model, basically all these things which are deployed. So, private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud. And also there is one more thing, community. So I'll be explaining you guys this also. What is community? So in deployment model, we have public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. And service model. So what are the services that AWS provides? So three kind of AWS cloud computing provide three kind of services: IaaS, infrastructure as a service; PaaS, platform as a service; and SaaS, software as a service. So we'll be seeing this topic in detail also. So moving on to service models, we have three types of service model: infrastructure as a service. So I'll show you diagram, because with the help of diagram, you guys can understand much more better. So you guys can see we have infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. And also we have one section for on-premise, right? So basically, on-premise is nothing but all the things which are required for your data center, right? Or which are required for your application to scale up and go running. So all these things you will be requiring. So cloud computing provides infrastructure as a service. basically all the cloud vendors or all the companies who provide cloud computing, cloud services are providing you infrastructure. Infrastructure, what comes under infrastructure? So networking, basically all the network part, storage, server, and virtualization. So all the hardware parts that comes under an infrastructure, these all things combined and form an infrastructure. So all the companies or all the cloud vendors provide you this part, and after that you guys need to install in your OS. You guys need to like upload your application on your OS by your own. So that are the things that we do by our own. So cloud service is nothing but infrastructure as a service. Then we have second part, platform as a service. So what comes under platform? So uh, platform basically, with infrastructure, the company or the basically service provider is giving us platform also. So platform is nothing but a runtime environment or an operating system. So these all things are lies under platform as a service, right? So OS, middleware, and runtime environment also added up in the platform as a service. Then we have software as a service. So software as a service is mostly or widely used all over the world. So you guys need to just download the software and use it. So what comes under software as a service? All each and everything that is required for a software is managed by the cloud vendor or the service provider. You guys just need the software for usage. Okay, so software as a service is nothing but you just guys need to install that software on your system and use that. All the part, like what is the back end and front end of software, how data is going from one place to another place, what is the operating system, what is servers, what are the storage use, what is networking. So all these parts are managed by cloud vendor. Okay, so this is basically a service model which cloud computing has. Then moving on to the okay, we also have one more diagram for service model. So you guys can see I've said you like cloud computing is nothing but infrastructure as a service. So you can see AWS, Elastic Compute Cloud, EC2, I mean, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Engine. So all the cloud platforms comes under infrastructure as a service. Then platform as a service. So Amazon provides us some of the platforms also, like Elastic Beanstalk. Google provides us App Engine. So whenever we get software and we just need to do the remaining part. So sorry, whenever we get the platform and the remaining part we need to do on our own. So that is nothing but platform as a service. And for software as a service, which is for end user, you guys can say Gmail, Office 365, Google Doc, Event Pro, Salesforce. So all these things are software. This is for end user, right? For your client usage. You guys, all the things are managed by you guys, and you guys just create a software and give it to your client. Your client will use that software. So I hope that you guys might have understood the service model in cloud computing. Then we have deployment models, right? So we have three kind of deployment models: public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. And one more is there, which is community cloud. So I'll explain you this with one diagram. Just a minute. Let me move on to my diagram section. Okay. So you guys can understand deployment model with this diagram. You guys can see like we have public cloud over here. Let me just we have public cloud over here. We have private cloud over here. Okay. So all the companies, all the institute which comes under public cloud. Public cloud, what is public cloud? So public cloud is nothing but a cloud service which is accessible to the outside world. Like anyone can access that. For example, AWS, GCP, Azure, all these things are public cloud. yeah, anyone can access that. And what is private cloud? So private cloud is nothing but the cloud services which are made for a particular organization. Like any employee from that organization can only access that private cloud. No one outside that organization will be or would be accessible to that private cloud. So private cloud is for a organization. Okay. So what is hybrid cloud? So hybrid cloud is nothing but a combination of every cloud model that which we have in the world. Hybrid cloud is nothing but the combination of each and every cloud model which we have in the world. And the remaining is community cloud. So what is community cloud? Community cloud is nothing but we can like understand this with one example. Like I have a company, and you guys, one of you guys also have a company. So you have one of your cloud service, I have one of my cloud services. When we like meet together and work with combining our cloud services together, so that is community cloud. We are creating a community between two or more organizations. So that is community cloud. So I hope you guys would have understood this thing. I will just quickly. Okay. So here also you guys can see like public cloud is nothing but pay per use model, multiple user organization support. Anyone can join, anyone can use. Private cloud is nothing but interesting for single organization. Only a single organization can use that. Community cloud is basically support portable feature, promotes corporation like combination or combining together and work together. And hybrid cloud is nothing but connect one or more private cloud or public cloud or community cloud. So I hope that this is understood to everyone. Do anyone of you have any doubts in this like cloud model? Write in the chat box. Like if anyone have any of the doubt in cloud model, like I don't think so that any one of you would have any doubt in the cloud model. But if anyone have, so write in the chat box. Otherwise, we'll move further. Okay, so okay, so we'll move further. So we'll be moving on to AWS, the major part, the main part of our training. What is AWS? What are the services AWS provides? What do AWS like? Uh, what do AWS do? Okay, so AWS is Amazon Web Services. Basically, Amazon provides us the web services. Okay, Lukendra ji is asking something. Just a minute. What he is asking? CAPEX and OPEX. Okay, just a minute, Lukendra ji. I'll explain you. Uh, CAPEX is nothing but capital expenses, and OPEX is nothing but operating expenses. Do I explain it in detail? Lukendra ji, write in the chat box. Uh, CAPEX is nothing but capital expense, and OPEX is operating expenses. Okay, sure, sure. So, like we were seeing, what is AWS, and so AWS is Amazon Web Services. Amazon, like the services, the web services or the cloud services which Amazon provides us is named as AWS. Nothing more like important in that. AWS is infrastructure as a service, or we can say like a mixture of each and everything. But uh, most of the guys in world like us use it as an infrastructure as a service because we use servers, we use hardware, we use databases from AWS. Okay. So also AWS is if we can say or if we can discuss the features of AWS. So AWS provides you pay as you go model. Like whatever the services that you are using, you just need to pay for that. and for how much time you are using that, you guys need to pay for that only. Benefits of AWS. So AWS keep your data safe, meet compliance requirement, save money, and scale quickly. So the most important thing is scale quickly. This is most important thing. And one more I can say, keep your data safe. So like I can say, AWS does not provide you 100% security, but it like assures you he'll keep your data safe for 99.999, like as much as nine you can add, that much of security he can provide you. Okay, so AWS is that much secure and scales quickly. So we'll see how AWS scales quickly today only. And these are some of the certifications which AWS provides. I thought you guys should know. For the foundational level, mm, for the practitioner level, basically, for the foundation, AWS provides you cloud practitioner in each of the fields like architect, developer, or operations. Then comes the associate part. So we have certified solution architect. Basically, I am this the certification you guys can see this certification. I have this certification. I'm certified in this thing. Okay. Then we have AWS provides us certified developer in associate and certified SysOps administrator in associate. So all the topics that will be going to cover in associate, or like in our training which we are doing. So 90% of that topic comes or under this certification also. Okay, this certification solution, sorry, SysOps admin. All the topics that we'll cover are comes under this certification, but 90% of that topic comes under this certification as well. Now, why associate or why AWS associate certification is more important, much more important than cloud practitioner? Okay, so as soon as or after you complete your AWS certification, you guys don't need to go for professional. You guys can like do a specialty certifications as well. After after associate certification, you guys can like do specialty certification. AWS provides you specialty certifications as well, like for advanced networking, big data, and security. So we'll be discussing this also at the end of our training, like after we can say 25 or 26 days. We'll discuss this thing in detail. Also, I'll be guiding you with the certification, how to go, how to approach for the certification exam, like how to what are the types of questions that comes under the exam. So we'll be discussing that later on also. So these are some of the certification, and similar as that of associate, you guys can also go for professional. But one thing, okay, so if you guys want to give associate exam, but you are not practitioner certified, right? So you guys can go for associate exam directly without approaching for cloud practitioner. But for the professional, you guys need to clear the associate exam first. Okay, without clearing the associate exam, you guys cannot go on for professional. But for associate, you guys can go directly, or you guys can approach directly for associate exam without giving the cloud practitioner exam. But I prefer, or I just suggest you guys to go for cloud practitioner first, then go for solution architect or SysOps admin associate certification. Then do whatever certification in the future what you want in any specialty or professional. So I prefer you to go sequentially or the proper way, like cloud practitioner, then associate, then whatever. But for the purpose of information, I'm like telling you, you guys can also give associate exam as well. Okay. If anyone have any doubts regarding certification, please write in the chat box. Otherwise, we'll directly move to our main part of our training, AWS IAM. Like we'll start our first service, IAM, Identity and Access Management. Any doubts regarding certification? Write in the chat box. Okay, so I'll also discuss this later on at the end of the training sessions, when we'll complete all our training session, and we will like solve all the questions and all the technical questions that I'll be providing you. I'll be providing you technical questions as well. So we'll discuss this thing at that time also. Okay. So quickly move on to our first topic, identity and access management, IAM. So okay, before that, okay, chalo, we'll do that. Then I'll show you one more important, like uh, which is which will help you guys for the pricing section. So our first topic is identity and access management. So as I have said you, identity and access management, like it is the service which AWS provides you for like user creation, group creation, policies creation, not for creation, for management also, like user management, group management, policy management. Like you guys can create your own policies as well for any of your services. You guys can create your own group. You guys can create your own users as well. You guys can like create your own policy and assign your own created policy to your own created groups as well. So these all things comes under IAM, identity and access management. So will not waste. So from now onwards, will not waste more time in theory session. Like cloud computing was like not was cloud computing is fully theory part. So from now onwards, we'll be focusing more on practical. Okay. So what is identity and access management? It okay, not this, not this also. Okay. So identity IAM provides you shared access to your AWS account. You guys can create your own user. I'll teach you guys how to create your own user. You guys can give policies as well to your own user. You can give administrative access to your created IAM user as well. I'll be showing you that also. We have granular permissions. Granular permissions are basically like assigning different permissions to different group, different users in a same group. So that are granular permissions. Multi-factor authentication must. This is must. Like I prefer you guys to like put multi-factor authentication on your AWS account. Then we have identity federation, identity information of a sovereign, eventually consistent and free to use. IAM is free to use. Okay, so quickly move on to our AWS console. Uh, okay, so so quickly, how many of you guys have AWS account? Like, please be interactive, guys. Everyone, write in the chat box how many of you have AWS account. Like, okay, others also please write in the chat box how many of you have AWS account. Okay, no. So like those you don't have, okay. Yeah, we'll be okay. Mr. Dan, will be covering each and every topic in AWS. So don't be worried. At the end of the training, I assure you that you will be like capable of creating your own services, or you will be capable of handling all the services in AWS. So no need to worry for that. Okay, so only four have replied. Like Lupendra ji is telling I have, like, okay. Vijay Chaudhary is telling no. Ravi Gaurang is telling no. Okay, no. Okay, so I can see like most of you don't have AWS account, right? So like just a minute. Uh, Ujjwal, are you there? Ujjwal?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. So please like let them know how to create AWS account. Like it was
So
for the Nepal.
for those who have already registered, registered for the training, their AWS account will be in their email by 2 days. They will get the email.
Okay, okay, okay.
They
So
will get the
I
email
think like
in 2 days. It's already in
okay,
process.
okay, okay.
Sorry about the background noise.
No issue, no issue.
Soon they will get the email. Those who have already registered, and those who have not registered, once they register, they will get the AWS account. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so everyone, like I insist all of you guys to please register quickly so that you guys can, or you guys will get your AWS account as quick as you guys can or you guys want. So, like, if you don't like have any AWS account, so it will be much or more complicated for you guys because you guys cannot perform any practical. Okay, so I like insist you to please register as soon as possible so that you guys will also get management console or AWS account so that you guys can uh, go as we are going. Okay, so those who don't have like all their problems will be solved. Okay, so moving on to IAM, identity and access management.
Nishit,
If
Lokendra,
I
Nishit Lokendra here.
yeah, tell me.
Ujjwal, what's the base you are creating the accounts? You are going to create with the email IDs,
Yeah.
what we have registered. So if we have already with the email ID the accounts,
Mm-hmm.
if we have already the accounts with the user IDs, so you are ignoring that, right? So why? Because of already I have the same user account with the user ID which I have sent, which I have registered.
Look, your voice is not coming proper. Your voice is buffering. So I think please like attach or connect your earphone and or headphone
No, no,
and
no.
then
Actually, I have done that one only. I have attached the headphones. One quick question: if I already have the uh, accounts with the email ID which we have registered with Cloud Saver,
uh-huh.
so you are going to get the message as user ID is already exist.
No, like if you have an AWS account, right? So
Ah,
like we are providing AWS account for those to those guys
okay,
like who don't have any AWS account because
okay, cool.
yeah, because like in outside world, like as compared to Nepal and other countries, it is much more easier to create an AWS in other countries. But in Nepal, like there is some of the other issues with the banking and the AWS. So it is not possible to create AWS account directly, right? So we are providing to all those participants who don't have any AWS account and they are registering. If you have, then you can use your own account also. I'll explain you how to create an IAM user. Okay, I'll be like explaining you guys what to do with your root account and how you can like secure your root account, right? So is that clear? Okay, okay. So moving on. Okay, so our topic is identity and access management. So first we will see identity, how to create an user in identity and access management. Before that, just okay, so we'll create identity and access management. Then I will tell you what to do with your user. So you guys can see like services over here. So by just clicking on them, you guys can have access to each and every services. You guys can see AWS provides us many services, like for machine learning as well, for media services, mobile services, security, management, storage, database, satellites as well, okay, analytics as well, IoT, game development. So AWS provides us services for each and everything. So we'll be seeing IAM today. So either you can search for IAM here, in the search box at the top, or you guys can see security, identity, and compliance. IAM is here in security, identity, and compliance as well. So I'll just go on to IAM user. Okay. The first thing, like if you are new to AWS, like right, all of you are new to AWS. So as soon as you create your AWS account, go into identity and access management. So these are some of the security status. Okay, so AWS will show you these some of these security status. So make sure that you clear each and everything that is mentioned over here, right? Like I have like delete your AWS access key. So it is by default like this option is configured or completed by default by AWS. Delete your root access key. Then the remaining part like activate MFA on your root account. So I have activated earlier. I'll show you how to activate MFA on your root account now. Then you have to create an individual IAM user. You have to create a group. You have to assign permissions to that group, and you have to also apply an IAM password policy as well. So AWS provides you password policy. So with the help of password policy, you can like modify all the password settings, like what you want or how you want your password to be. So make sure as you create your AWS account, make sure that you complete all the steps which are over here. So first I'll remove this MFA. Then I'll show you how to create a okay. Again, we'll go to IAM. So now the screen which is visible to you guys, whenever you create your AWS account or whenever you log into your AWS account, right? So you'll go to IAM users, IAM identity access management. So this is some sort of the screen that you guys will see. Okay. So by default, you guys will have 7 roles created, and all other things are 0. You have to complete all the steps like activate MFA on your root account, create individual IAM user, use group to assign permission, and apply an IAM password policy. So basically MFA is nothing but multi-factor authentication. So I prefer you guys to put MFA or assign MFA on your root account, because it is for the security purpose of your root account. Your root account will be much more secure with the help of MFA. So I'll show you how to activate MFA on your root account. You guys just need to click on activate MFA on your root account. Then you can see manage MFA. So we'll go to manage MFA. Then you guys can see here are your security credentials, right? So here we have password, to change our password name, or basically to change the details or information of our root account. You guys can click and go onto that part. We'll see that part also. So guys can see here MFA, multi-factor authentication. So just go on that and click on activate MFA. Okay, now MFA, basically AWS provides 3 different type of MFA, three different type of security methods. The first one is virtual MFA device, second is U2F security key, and third is other hardware MFA devices. So for other hardware MFA devices, we should have the hardware MFA device at our place, which we don't have. For everyone, everyone don't have hardware device or hardware MFA devices, right? So the remaining options are U2F security key. So for that also we should have U2F devices. So everyone also don't have U2F devices at their place. So what remains is virtual MFA device. So everyone has a mobile phone or a computer at their place, right? So you guys just need to go on to Google Play Store on your mobile phone, and you guys can search Authenticator on your Google Play Store, right? or whatever, like whatever app store you have, you guys just need to search for authenticator, and then you'll see there is this Google Authenticator. Because Google Authenticator is much more easier to understand. So just install that Google Authenticator on your mobile phone and do all the process that the application asks you. Then after that, you guys need to click on this virtual MFA device. Then we'll continue this. Then we have like to assign our MFA device, like our mobile MFA device which we have in our mobile with this our AWS account. So we need to scan the QR code. So on your mobile phone, you can click on at the bottom. You guys will have plus symbol or add symbol. You guys need to click on that and scan a QR code. You can click on scan a QR code. Okay. So I have just scanned my QR code. It will take a time. Now after scanning, it will. I have to enter two MFAs, which is visible on my mobile device to for the security purpose. So I'll just enter. Okay, one more thing. Like what is this is a like good feature which Google Authenticator or any authenticator application provides you. It just change your MFA code. MFA code in every span of 30 seconds. So your application or your account is secure. Because the span of every 30 seconds the code gets changed. Okay. Okay. So I also got the second code. Now I just need to click on assign MFA. So you guys can see you have successfully assigned virtual MFA. So I have assigned a virtual MFA on my root account. Now I'll show you how it works. Okay. So I'll quickly sign out of my AWS account. Now I'll again sign in, click on sign in to console. Then I'll enter my email address and password. Now you guys can see if you guys have not assigned an MFA code to your AWS account after entering the entering the password and after click on submit, you get directly log into your AWS account. But now we have assigned virtual MFA to our AWS root account, so it is asking me for the MFA code. So I'll just type the MFA code which is visible on my mobile phone and I'll enter. So with this way we can secure our AWS root account, right? And our root account is assigned with the authenticator application which we have in our mobile phone. Okay, so no one else in the world can access your root account. Like no one else in the world can enter the MFA code which is visible in their phone, enter that here. So it will not work. Okay, so the MFA code which is visible at your mobile phone, the mobile phone which you have assigned with your root account will work here. So I think this much is understood to each and everyone. Is this understood? Okay. Now you guys can see like I have activated MFA on my root account. So instead of this danger sign, I have a right click. Now step one by one, I'll cover all the steps. So I'll go with create individual IAM user. I just need to click on that. Manage user. So, you guys can see I do not have any IAM user right now. Currently I am not having any IAM user because I've deleted every configuration which I have done on my. This is my training account. And on this account I only perform training. I only use this for training purpose. So I do the configuration and then I delete that. So I've made my account like I I've made my account look like it is from scratch. Like we are doing it from scratch. Everything is from the beginning. So we don't have any IAM user. So we need to add a user. We need to create a user. So for that, we need to click on add user. Now here you need to enter the username. So we can give any username. So we'll be giving AWS IAM test 1. So basically I've given the username for my IAM user 1. Now we have this option, add another user. So with this option, you guys can add multiple user at same time, right? If you want to create 4 or 5 user at same time, so you guys just need to click on add another user, how many user you want to create. Guys just need to click on this add another user, uh, uh, and then just enter the username, then go on further. But for the current purpose, we only need one IAM account or one IAM user. Okay, let's create a username easy way. IAM user 1. Okay, this username is much more easier. Now we have access type. So the access type in IAM user is much more important. Okay, we have two types or two kind of access to our to our AWS with the help of IAM user. We can give programmatic access as well, and we can give AWS management console access as well. So what is the difference? Okay, so there is a minute or a very basic difference in programmatic access and management console access. So management console access is nothing but we get the access to our management console with our IAM user, like the management console which we are working on, which is displayed to your screen, which I am working on. This is management console. So to access this management console, you guys need to create IAM user for management console access. But if you are having any APIs, if you have created any Amazon API, or you need to work on CLI, like command line interfaces, or you guys are using any development tool of any cloud, any of the development tool of AWS, which is to which you guys need to connect from outside, right?